Hello, everyone. I'm Sibyl Star, and I'm here to give the astrology forecast for the Taurus new moon, which occurs on April 27th at 12:31 p.m. Pacific time. All right, so let's first look at the chart. All right, let's see. All right, so as you can see, the energy has really been in Aries and Pisces for the last several months, but just an overwhelming amount. And now things are starting to shift a bit. We've got some planets in Taurus, the sun and the moon, as well as Uranus, and Mars has also changed signs. Mars is now in Leo. It was a long haul with Mars retrograde in Cancer. Mars retrograde moves more slowly and it just is really intense. And Cancer is a very emotional sign. So, a lot of emotional intensity over the last several months. But now, I believe it was, what was that? April 16th was the day Mars moved into Leo. So, let's begin with the chart. All right. Taurus new moon. April 27th, 12:31 p.m. here at in Santa Rosa. Well, in Pacific time, just say Pacific time. All right. So here is the new moon. We have the sun and the moon at 7 degrees, 46 minutes of Taurus. Okay. And she's in the new moon is in what is called a fixed cross configuration. The new moon is opposite Lilith in Scorpio, as well as well, we don't normally consider the part of Earth as part of a fixed square because it's always there, but here I would because it's conjunct a Lilith, Black Moon Lilith. All right. And this opposition is in what's called, like I said, a fixed square with Mars at 4 degrees of Leo, opposite Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So that would be a fixed square. Okay. We'll be talking about what that means. We also have the ruler of this Taurus moon is Venus, and Venus is in a beautiful conjunction with the North Node, with Saturn, and with Neptune. It's an out of sign conjunction with Neptune, but very, very powerful. Okay. And we have Uranus here at 26 degrees, 8 minutes of Taurus is conjunct the star Algol, the last conjunction of Uranus and Algol. So we'll be talking about that, as well as Saturn and Venus and Neptune conjunct the star Shéat in Pegasus. Now, let's see, we also have a Chiron Eris conjunction. And and we'll talk just a little bit about that. Okay. All right. So now let us get on to the what all of this means. All right. So first, let's talk about the Taurus archetype. Taurus comes here in the northern hemisphere when the earth is very fertile. New growth is happening. You know, the beauty of Mother Nature at this time of year is just so beautiful. And so it's really important to go out and enjoy it. Enjoyment of the senses. Taurus rules the five senses. Taste, touch, smell, hearing, touching, all of those. Okay. And so it's a very sensuous and creative sign. This is a time to take care of yourself as well, to take care of your body, listen to your body, nurture your body. Your body may be speaking to you. And if it is really, it's important to listen to what the body is saying to you. It's also a very creative energy and it's very much about natural beauty. It's very artistic and especially in music and sound. Many of our greatest singers and musicians have Taurus strong in their chart. This is a time of year when everything is ripe or coming ripe. There's it's actually flowers that are really blooming. So it's really the beauty and preparing us for the ripeness of the fruit that will come. It's about the nourishment of life. Everything is pregnant with new life force. Okay. And also the magic of Mother Nature, the consciousness of Gaia. Gaia is a conscious being, and at times in like this, when it's so beautiful outside, it's really important to go lay down on her. Let Mother Gaia hold you. Connect to her consciousness. We are part of her. She has given us life. We are her children. We are part of her. Okay. And some of the other things about Taurus, like I said, is very much about, it's the sign most connected with the body, Mother Earth. So it's being grounded, earthing. I just recently bought myself an earthing mat for my bed, and it has really helped my sleep a lot. Okay. Taurus is about what we value. It's ruled by Venus. And it's what we value in life, what is important to us. It rules the second house, which is about our values, which is the Taurus Venus house. It is about living it. Taurus is about the simplicity of life. Eat when you're hungry, sleep when you're tired, and live in the present moment, because the truth is that is all we really have. Worry is futile. Let Mother Nature hold you, and move into the stillness and serenity. We may be in a storm right now, which we are, but Taurus says for us to be like the tree whose roots go deep down into the ground while the storm swirls around. So it's to hold your center, but also like the trees will bend a little bit, in the wind, or they would break. But it's really important though to find your own center and to stay connected to Mother Earth. Taurus is about patience, recognizing that timing is everything. And as I said, to live in the present moment and trust the process. Taurus is very practical and realistic. Some of the shadow sides of Taurus could be they're stubborn, fixed, unmovable. Taurus can be very concerned about security, especially financial security. So, you can get caught in the trap of believing you are what you have. Because Taurus's words are I have, whereas Aries is I am. Taurus moves into I have. So it can be very attached to possessions. And the thing is, it's ruled by Venus, and Venus is about love. And in Taurus, it's about self-love. And so and self-love relates to self-worth, how we value ourselves. And so, like I said, the trap is aligning your self-worth with what you own. Okay. All right. The Sabian symbol for this new moon is a sleigh without snow. And so this could indicate feeling stuck. And Taurus is one of the signs most easily stuck. It in And so the question is, what is keeping you stuck? Now, this symbol implies having the vehicle, but not the fuel or the gas or the energy to get the vehicle going or to make use of what's available. And like I said, Taurus is often about timing, though. So you may need to wait until the time is right to move, about having patience. But it could also be just simply needing the fuel to get things going. And so this is where this fixed cross comes in, because it is definitely it's energizing. Squares are energizing. They're dynamic. They make things move. A fixed square has the potential to, if it's an old pattern, but I feel like what this is about, it is about giving fuel to get things moving, to get unstuck, because it's very powerful energy. So what we have Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio opposite the sun, and that is square the opposition of Mars and Pluto. So it's two oppositions and four squares, which create what is called a fixed square. Okay, grand square. A fixed grand square is what it's called. It's a grand square. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the components of this aspect. So we have Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, which is opposite the sun. And, Black Moon Lilith, Lilith is number one. The Black Moon is the dark side of the moon. So it would represent some of the darker, more shadowy energy of a moon in Scorpio. And Lilith is about, to me, she's one of the dark goddesses, but she's about self-empowerment. She comes in and cuts through the truth with a knife, and she isn't always kind. But often that's what happens, what does they say? The truth can hurt, but it will also set us free once we know it. Okay. And so Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio represents a powerful and transformative energy, emphasizing the themes of sexuality, independence, and emotional depth. I feel like Black Moon Lilith is really wanting us to go deeply into our emotions and can represent an emotional storm. It indicates or encourages exploration of hidden desires and can evoke intense feelings in relationships and often challenging societal norms around intimacy and power dynamics. So it can bring up power dynamics within our relationships. But the goal with this is to get some clarity, okay? As well as there may be some emotions we just simply need to experience and let go of. And I feel like a big piece of it is about mastery of our emotions. Okay. All right. Mars and Leo. Mars and Leo, like, I talked a little bit earlier about Mars in Cancer. And Mars in Cancer was a really emotionally intense kind of an energy. Mars in Leo is a bit different. And of course, Mars is the warrior, the protector. He's where we say no, where we set boundaries. It's our direction in life. But number one, it's life force energy. And how to control the life force energy it pours into us. And Leo is a fire sign. And so this brings tremendous life force energy, especially for creative expression. It might be a really good time to have a creative outlet right now because I think it would really help. What is the word I'm looking for? Give us an outlet for this energy that is helpful and useful and healing. Okay. And also puts us on our direction in life because Mars is about our direction in life. And I feel like this whole Mars retrograde was really about the question of what makes you come alive, where to put that life force energy. If you don't have a good outlet, it's going to go somewhere. And so, and it may not be, as there's our outlets that are less helpful than others, put it that way. Okay. It's passionate and bold. And it's a strong desire nature, and one of the traits of Leo is the desire for recognition. And so it's really important. Um, One of the shadows of Leo is wanting to be the center of attention. And so it's really important to find a healthy way to get recognized because if you're not recognized in a healthy way, the shadow is going to come out and it could come out in some destructive ways and ways that aren't helpful. Like I said, wanting to be the center of attention and doing things to be the center of attention that are not helpful. Okay. And it's about leadership. That's one of it's a highly creative, passionate, and there is a desire for leadership. And one of the meanings of Leo, because it is, the one of the symbols or one of the archetypes is the king or queen. And so it's about leadership and how to be aligned. Like Leo rules the backbone. And so it's like how to be aligned with your inner truth and not to succumb to flattery. Leo's another shadow of Leo is giving people what they want, not what's really true and authentic. So it's really being aligned with your inner truth, and you will get the recognition you need through your actions. You won't have to act out to get it. Okay. All right. It's opposite Pluto. And of course, Pluto, can bring up our shadow, but Pluto in Aquarius is about the need to express the authenticity of self. And so, as I said, one of the shadows of Leo is playing to the crowd, giving people what they want. Whereas Pluto in Leo is challenging us to be authentic and aligned with our own inner truth and integrity, and to not just succumb to acting out to get attention and the other shadows of Leo. Okay. Um, it's about that. I think that's one of the most important things. And it's also, Leo is about the individual and Aquarius is about the group. So once again, it is the power dynamics in the group and the collective versus the desires, our own desires, because Mars in Leo can have a really strong desire nature. Now, this Pluto in Leo is conjunct the stars of Aquila, the eagle. I've talked about this a lot, but I'm still going to. So it's up to me, it's about working with the eagle eye vision and seeing the bigger picture. And it's like, how do you take your Leo individual self and creative gift of our own genius to serve the higher good? Okay, that's what it's about. I feel like that is one of it is about, and to see the bigger picture. And it's also about expanding your spiritual vision. The shadow of Pluto in Aquarius is the herd or mob mentality. Well, there are many, but this is the one I'm going to talk about. All right. Now we have Mars opposite Pluto. And so this can indicate the desires of self versus the needs of the group and how you integrate that um, and self mastery of the desire nature, because ultimately it is about the alignment of the egoic will with divine will. And the divine will is actually our soul plan, it's actually our egoic will that gets us off track. It also grows the greater reality, but ultimately the goal is to come back into that alignment. And if living authentically and aligned with soul design, with our soul design, which is what divine will is, we will attract what supports us in that goal. So we can really move ahead with that energy. Because this is the kind of energy that can move mountains when it is aligned with divine will. The shadow is to make sure that we're moving the right mountain for the right reasons. And it can also bring up power struggles. And if power struggles come up, it's really important to look and see if you are in alignment with divine will. Or is this a place of where it is about aligning your will with divine will and seeing, and it may be where we have to say no and set boundaries. Okay. So I think they're both there. Okay. All right. And Pluto asks for a deeper understanding of our motivations, and it can bring evolution through crisis. It's the alchemical process. Now, the whole fixed cross, I feel like what it's saying is it's a world in chaos, and to remember that the world is a mirror reflection. And it is, I feel like one of the teachings is not only about the mastery of our emotion, of our desire nature, but our emotions, because our emotions actually is what underlie our desire nature. And as we gain mastery, it's about self-mastery. We can walk the way of the peaceful warrior, not fighting, but by anchoring strength through presence, clarity, and deep inner stillness. It's coming to that place of inner peace. It's about self-empowerment. It's the inner alchemical process of finding the gold within ourselves. And the alchemical process, the fire, which is that Mars in Leo, as well as I think the Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, because even though it's a water sign, it's a pretty fiery water sign. And it can often bring crisis as a part of the process. In the alchemical process, you turn the fire up until it starts boiling, and everything that is not part of the basic nature, the substance, the basic substance, will be burned off, and then you turn up the water to cleanse it and to purify it and to release it. But the water is, excuse me, the fire is the crisis. And we often have crisis in our lives where it really makes us grow. And we do find that alchemical gold within ourselves, that inner strength, that core of our soul, of our being, of who we are. And so it can bring the true authenticity of self. Okay. And when we can live an authentic life, it can bring inner peace. It's often when our outer world does not, we're not who we are in our inner world. We're not able to express that in the outer world is really what can bring a lot of chaos, inner chaos. But when we can live a life that is authentic for us, we're living our authentic self. And that doesn't mean that it's always easy, but it does bring a sense of inner peace. And as we get to that place of inner peace, and we're not there all the time. I'm not even remotely saying one has to be there all the time. It's as often as we can go there, though it really does impact the outer world. The energy ripples out. And when we can meet the fear and chaos in the outer world with being centered within ourselves and without emotional reaction, it's like pause before you respond. Take a deep breath, get a little, embody the inner peace. Okay. But pause before you respond. That will help keep you from participating in high levels of drama and um, finding that centered place is the place to respond from if you can. Okay. And to understand we must be the peace we wish to see in the world. And the more frequently you can come to a state of inner peace will change the world. That vibration ripples out into the world and changes the field. Okay. And you may not even be aware of what you're doing. It isn't even like it's because the world reflects back to us and it reflects back to us who we are, not necessarily always what we want, but who we are. And when we can put inner peace into the field, it will actually grow that in the field. All right. Now, Uranus, the planet of change and lightning and downloads and what's called the divine mind, is conjunct the fixed star Algol. And we've talked about this before. This is the last conjunction. The next new moon, it will be past it. And you, like I said, Uranus, it takes 84 years for Uranus to make a full trip around the sun, the full circuit. And so um, this is the last activation for like 84 years. Okay. And so the star Algol is aligned with or is associated with the myth of Medusa. And, Medusa was part of a triple goddess of Libya, along with Athena and Metis, Athena, goddess of wisdom, Metis, goddess of intuition. And Medusa was a goddess of instinct. And she was also, part of her story is that she was a guardian priestess of sacred rites in the temple of Athena. And there was an incident that happened anyway. That was the divine feminine was violated. That's what happened. And it was during a time during the patriarchal shift when a lot of the divine feminine temples and the mother goddess, the goddess was violated in many ways, as were women and women were violated. It's really the truth of it. Women were violated. And so the story, goes that ultimately her hair was turned into serpents and she had a petrifying gaze that basically said, "Don't touch me." They said, she turned men to stone, but the truth, it was about sovereign power and protection. Don't touch me. And Medusa energy lives in those who have survived trauma and turned it into transformation and into self-empowerment. So transform this myth into one of self-empowerment. Okay. And in this year of the serpent, this I want to just share something I discovered that I thought was really nice. It says the serpent, a universal alchemical symbol, stands for both wisdom and the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. In Gnosticism, the serpent is not a tempter, but a bringer of knowledge, an awakener of the divine spark. Serpents represent the grounding of celestial knowledge into material reality and the dissolution and reintegration necessary for the inner alchemical transformation. And I feel like that's what that Mars Pluto is also about, is an inner alchemical transformation that is going on. It may not be time to take action. This is a time of inner transformation, but it could be. Okay. They embody the cyclical nature of spiritual evolution, where death is but a prelude to a greater life. Yeah. So I just wanted to share a little story that of something that happened to me over this last weekend. As I was walking at the lake, I was on a kind of a lower path that was right next to the lake, not up on the hill. And there was what I want to say is this path, there was no other way to walk. Right. There was no other path I could get on when going to share what happened. I saw up ahead of me some vultures, like some really big vultures, probably seven. I think about seven, and so I knew something had died. I didn't know what, but like I said, there was no divergence from this path. I had to keep walking, that there was no other way. And so when I got close, I saw that it was a serpent that had died. It was a snake. And now it looked like a rattler. Now I know that there's more than one snake that has that marking. So I don't know that that was a rattler, but we certainly have them around here. So anyway, the turkey vultures moved so that I could walk by, and it was, like I said, a pretty dramatic scene. And it happened over Easter weekend, Holy Saturday. And so what has come up in some guidance I received, that one of the meanings of this could be that it was about the courage to face death. This was on my path. This was something I had to confront and look at, and it was pretty dramatic, like I said. And they're both symbols of death. You know, the serpent shedding its skin, and the vulture eating the carrion, and the purifying. So I would say, so I really asked myself, what needs to die in my life so that a rebirth could happen? And this was Easter weekend. So I would say that to you as well. What needs to die in your life so that a rebirth can happen? We know that a new world is being born as the old one dies. So it's happening everywhere. As they say, the train has left the station. The new world is coming, the old is dying. So I felt like this was just a really significant symbol. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is Neptune in Aries. Neptune is conjunct Venus, Saturn, and the North Node, but out of sign. But I'm first just going to talk about Neptune and Aries, because to me, this is such a significant shift, more so than, and of course, when it conjuncts Saturn, that's going to, at zero Aries, that's extremely powerful. And Neptune has not been in Aries and since I think it's 1861 or two, and it was right around the time of the Civil War, and there was a lot of other things going on, but anyway, it was Neptune is at zero Aries, which is Aries point, and this is a very significant degree in the zodiac. It's been activated numerous times this spring, and it's still going to be activated even more when Saturn moves in. Anyway, but it's the beginning of the zodiac, the beginning of the zodiacal year, and giving birth. And I love and I have talked about it before, but I think it's important to talk about it again. The Sabian symbol for Neptune and Aries is a woman. A woman has risen out of the ocean. A seal is embracing her. It's the emergence out of the realm of potentiality into the realm of this reality. This is the beginning of a whole new impulse, creative and responsive. And okay, Aries, of course, zero Aries is so much about stepping out of the collective unconscious into form. And um, and it's about the I am consciousness. And the I am consciousness is a statement of self-awareness and a fundamental state of being which exists beyond the limitations of the ego and external circumstances. It's a recognition of one's inherent presence and a connection to a deeper, unchanging reality. To me, it is about the birth of a new consciousness of self-awareness, which leads us into new frontiers of consciousness growth. And we are crowning. Um, so it feels like the light is here and we are crowning, but we're not out of the birth canal yet because um, Neptune is going to go back into Pisces. For a few months later in the year. So it's like we're crowning, but we're not quite ready to come. Okay. But it is a new reality where we become aware of the true reality behind the illusion as the veil falls and the fog lifts, and that we are entering a gateway or portal into a new reality. We know that it's coming. And 3D reality, which we are living, is the dream, but the new reality of the fifth dimension is an awakening within the dream, an awakening to the truth of your own divinity, which we would call Christ consciousness. That was Christ's message. And I think it's so interesting that Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, has been transiting the 29th degree of Pisces for quite a while, is now at zero Aries, but we'll go back to 29 degrees of Pisces. So there's one more teaching. And Pisces is about the Christ consciousness. That is about our own inner divinity. Christ, that's what the teaching was to help us do this. Remember who we are. Okay. And as we awaken within the dream, we can realize that it is a dream, which allows us to stand back and be the witness without emotional reaction. When we realize we're the actors in the dream, it's our consciousness, but the world is a dream and it's all about our choices. And we can stand back and be more of a witness as there's so much turmoil in the world. We don't have to participate in it. And that's really the best way to walk that path. Walk the path of the peaceful warrior, stand back, be the witness. Okay. And it is also about the anchoring of light. We have been anchoring light through the veil, but now the veil is pierced. I feel like Neptune moving into Aries, the veil is pierced. So that light is coming directly in, not we're anchoring it directly in. Okay. All right. Now we have the Neptune Venus Saturn conjunction. Okay. And Venus. Okay, so it feels to me like so there are two worlds. Neptune is like the world. I'm just gonna say 5D, a fifth dimensional reality, much more of a fifth dimensional reality. It is the new reality coming in. And Saturn is Saturn is the ruler of consensus reality. What we all agree upon is true. And at this point in time, it's 3D. It's the 3D world. And Venus is the goddess of love and the unconditional love of the Divine Mother. And she is like weaving these two worlds together, the world of spirit and the world of matter. Let's just say that would be Saturn and Neptune, but it's also a 3D, 5D kind of a frequency, weaving them together and weaving love, weaving the unconditional love of the Mother of the universe into the world of form, which raises our frequency and the vibration of the form. Okay. And the stars are conjunct the fixed star Shayot and Pegasus, which also indicates that our crown chakra is open and we're receiving messages and we're transmitting them to know that this new moon, there's going to be a real opening there. Saturn is conjunct the North Node, and Saturn in Pisces is about becoming our own spiritual authority and connection to the higher self. And so I would say during this time, as we find our center, it allows us to connect to our higher selves and to make the space to listen to our inner guidance. There's a real, it's like an arrow. The North Star is about the importance of meditation and a daily spiritual practice, to be able to step away from the drama and be the witness. And this allows us to release the illusion of control and follow the flow, and understand at this point in time, we actually impact the world more by our frequency than what we are doing. Okay. Now I want to share with you an image here. And this is from Dr. David Hawkins. Let me get it up here. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm not actually sharing it though. Okay, so this is Dr. David Hawkins. He created what he calls a map of consciousness. And it shows that when we become more conscious, we naturally become more blended and partnered with Source. And in this map of human frequency, you can see actually here is the level. There's the God view. He's got several points to it, but what we're going to look at here is the frequency of love is 500. We're looking at the scale. Frequent and the emotion is reverence. The frequency of joy is 540, and the emotion is serenity. And the frequency of peace is 600, and it is the frequency of bliss. So it is important to remember that to have peace in our hearts, we must surrender to our own divine nature, which is the truth of who we are. And that truly is when we get to that place of inner peace. And like I said, you don't have to do it. We know it. We're not in a place where this can be done all the time, but the more frequently we can come into these higher frequency vibrations of love, joy, and peace, and enlightenment is up here at the top, 700 to 1,000. Okay. And that's pure consciousness. But these are definitely doable, I think, for all of us if we allow ourselves to go there. And so I want to read, I want to, I have a really beautiful uh, piece someone wrote. It's prose, but it's really written in a poetic manner. And it's called The Art of Peace. The art of peace is not the absence of conflict, but the mastery of the self, a quiet revolution that begins within. To walk the path of peace is to walk in rhythm with the universe. It is to recognize that every breath we take is a sacred thread in the web of life. And with each step, we either weave harmony or we unravel it. So let us be still. Let us listen. Let us become the divine embodiment of peace in our thoughts, in our actions, and in the spaces between. And this was written by, I thought I had his name, but I seem to have lost it. It's something like James Wilmer or something. It's from the Ancient Order of Hermeticism. Anyway, it's wonderful. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. In these times of great change, it's so important to stay centered within ourselves and to find those places of inner peace when we can. So wishing you all a wonderful month. If you're interested in a reading, my contact information is in the box below. If you like this video, please check like and subscribe. Wishing you all many blessings this month, and namaste.